Hello, Hal. Welcome to this webinar today. And thank you for your constant support you're giving towards Zoho Writer. My name is Gautam, and I have Preeta, a product expert in Zoho Writer, to answer your questions during this webinar. Okay, that's a good know. And I have to say this in this webinar, the features that we are going to discuss will actually indulge you in using Writer for report generation. So let's just get into the last one. So what are the tools that you use for performing these advanced merge operations other than Writer? So if you are not using Writer, then if you're using some other tools, just please let us know if it is MS Word, Adobe, or any other applications. So today in this webinar, we are going to discuss some of the new features that we recently released, which will allow you to organize and provide you great insights on the data that you have. So if you're a follower of our webinars, then you must have attended our monthly webinars in which we have discussed about the new features such as Zia GPT, slash command, translation, extensions, and many more. So you can check out those webinars in a completed webinar section, which is available in the web page. So my colleague Preeta over here will be posting the help documents along with the link to check out the completed webinars in the Q&A box. So you can just have a glance at it and let us know what are the ways to improve our webinars in the future. Also, we recently introduced bulk pre-filled form generation in our writers automation templates. So we also have that in the completed webinars page. Please do check that out. So let's just get into the topic of today, how to group and aggregate data, which is available in Zoho Writer when you're doing a mail merge. So as you can see, this is the agenda for today. First, we will see how to visualize data using our new group by feature. Then we will see how to summarize those data that you have using the aggregate function that we also recently released. Further, we will check out the options to transform data to perform various operations. In the next section, we have an option to format numbers in Writer based on your preference. So we will check that out in the data formatting. And yes, as usual, in the final section, we have we'll be checking out the sneak peek of a futures that is going to be that we're currently working on, and it's actually going to be releasing in the near future. And not only that, after each and every section, we will just show you a live demo on how these things work and what are the ways which you can utilize these features. So the first one, data visualization. This is actually one of the important features when you're handling huge data. You might be facing difficulties in arranging them in an understandable format. So using a group by feature, you'll be able to manage your data easily and present it in a visually stunning manner. For example, let us take a look at these screenshots in front of you. So in the first one, as you can see, the same name is repeated in the various cells. So let's check John Doe. So John Doe is repeated further in the same table. And similarly, Jane Smith and David Johnson are repeated. But after the use of group by feature, you can see that in the right side of the screenshot. So there is a donor name, John Doe. So using this feature, you'll be able to group data together and show appropriate data under each categories. So using a condition or using a criteria or using a merge field, you'll be able to achieve these. So let us just switch to the live demo and check out how we can obtain this from scratch. So here, this is the writer's landing page. This is the home page of Writer. And here you can just click on create new and under merge template. If you have any PDF files already, so you can just click on create over PDF. So now, once the document is opened up, I can just go ahead and connect a data source with this particular writer document. So I have, there are various options for you. You can choose from any one of these to connect as a data source. So right now I've got a Zoho sheet and I'm going to use that to connect it as a data source. So I'm just picking that file from work drive. And if there are multiple sheets, you can just choose that as well. And so I'll also show you how exactly the data which I've got is created so that you'll have a better understanding. So in this case, we have taken a scenario where an NGO is recording their frequent or new donors and for what they are donating. Is it for a cause or is it for is it a material or is it an amount? So these stuffs are these informations have been feeded into a particular sheet file. So you can see there are various headers available here, which is name, address, city, purpose, and mode of payment, the amount that they have donated, or whether it is a cash or a material, a kind, and what exactly the material that they have donated. So these informations is our data source today. And let us consider the scenario and as an NGO sending out emails or calculating the total income that they have got or in order to check it out in a various formats. So let's say in a particular city, what is the amount that they have received? So these calculations and how to organize these data, we'll be checking out that in this today's webinar. So now, since I have added the collected data sheet as the data source, now you can see that all the headers that was available in Zoho sheet is under the main fields section. So from here, I can just click on it and put it into my document and generate multiple documents. So let me just show you a quick example of how it exactly works. So I'll just click on name, address, and the city. Maybe the amount that they have donated as well. So now I'll just show you a preview merge, how it'll exactly look once the merge is completed. So as you can see, these are the various records that I have in the Zoho sheet file. So if I click on Jane Smith, I can know what they have donated and their address and the city. So these are the fields that I've imported from Zoho sheet and connecting as a data source. So now the next option, in order to come to the feature today, I'll just show you a previously set document that I've created earlier. So in this, I'll show you a preview so that this is exactly what we are going to replicate, and I'll let you know what are the steps to achieve this requirement. So in this, as you can see, the user name is provided and whether it is a cash or it is a kind is shown to you, and as well as other information is provided, and these are in a well organized way which is based on the name of the donor. So in this, as you can see, David Johnson is a donor, and what are the donations that he made is listed out and in an organized manner. So in order to achieve this, I'll just create a table with four columns and two rows. So let me just delete these things and I'll just go to insert option, click on table and create a table. So now once I create a table, I'll insert the fields into this table. So I'll also insert the header first. So under the automate tab, I'll just go to the field section and insert the fields. Now that the fields are imported, let's just get into the today's topic, group by. So in order to group these fields or these values that we get, we just have to click on the field and select group by. But you can see that the group by is now disabled because we have not inserted a repeat field. So repeat field is basically a field which will allow you to repeat the data that is available. So for example, in the previous section, I showed you a preview where the name fields and the city is put into the document, but you can check out that only one particular user's data will be populated. So if you want all the users or all the data, all the records to be populated, you would have to use a repeat field. So in here, I'll just select this row and insert repeat. So now you have a red line around the document, around the table that indicates that this is a repeat region. So whatever the fields that you insert within this will be repeated. So now, as you can see, the group by feature is enabled. So I'll just go ahead and click on group. So now the group name is added. And in order to generate the same as like this, I would have to create three rows. So what I'll do is that I'll just delete this row and insert two rows. So you can just use this visual cue that is available to insert rows or delete rows anytime you want. And you can also select the rows and right click on it so that you can insert repeat region for two rows. So now I'll just go ahead and insert the name. So just inserting the fields based on the header. And once it is done, I'll just click on group by feature for group name. So now, based on this, you can go ahead and generate a table. So I'll merge these fields, merge these cells so that, so right click and clicking on merge cells will merge the entire field. So now if I check out the preview, you can see that the name John Doe is listed out and all his donations has been provided to you in the below section. Similarly, the next is Jane Smith and David Johnson, etc. So these informations will be provided to you in a proper arrangement. So this is how you can achieve a single group by in a table. So if you want to group by if you want to use this group by feature for multiple fields, so you would want to group let's say you would want to group initially the names, and then you would have to go with the cache of kind field and group data based on that. That's also possible. So we have another example for that. So this is actually a group by multiple criteria. So we have set multiple criteria and we have grouped this section. So I'll just show you the preview and let you know how this works. So initially, we have grouped this table using the city, so New York. So all the users or all the donors under New York will be listed out. And then we have grouped them by name. So the second criteria is name, where John Doe, the donor John Doe, and his donations will be listed out. So these are the two criteria that we have kept here. And also we have added a cash or kind. So based on cash or kind, there is also another segregation where you can see that in this first table, in this first um, donation, cash, you can see that food and education are both coming under the same cash field. So this is how group by feature works. So let me just show you how to group using multiple conditions. So I'll just use the same document and I'll remove this field and go ahead and insert another table. So for this, I'd be requiring three rows and four columns. So under insert, I'll just insert a table. And here, I'll repeat all the three rows. And once it is done, I can go ahead and insert the fields. The first one is city, and I'm going to group that. And the second one is cash or kind. Second one is the name of the user, the donor, purpose, and amount. So now I've inserted those fields into the document, and I'll just merge these cells for better view. Okay, so now let's just get into the second criteria. So as you can see in the left panel, each and every group that we create will be available in this section. So if you want, you can go ahead and edit them, and you can add additional criterias as well. So when I created the first document, there was a set group one set created. So if I want, I can keep a specified or a preferred name in order to identify this group set. And not only that, when you're inserting multiple groups in a particular document, you cannot mix match these groups in another table. So for example, if I create a field under, if I create a group set one, I cannot go ahead and insert that into another table which has got a group set two. So in here, I have got a group set three as um, the grouping that I've created. So when I go over here, as you can see, group set two and group set one will be disabled. So only if if the repeat region contains a field from group set one, I'll be able to insert other fields from there. Only if it contains group set two, I'll be able to insert other fields from there. So now, since I have group set three, I can go ahead and insert fields from here, or create new fields as well. So now I'm just adding additional criterias like then group by. So in this, I'm going to use name. First, I would want New York, the city, to be filtered out and then categorized, and then I would want it to be grouped by name. And further, I would want it to be grouped using cash or kind. So now I have updated the group fields, and now I can go ahead and add this group field. I'm now also adding mode of payment. So now I'll just go ahead and preview this document. And before we preview, before we get into the preview section, I'll just show you that there is an option for you to easily design a table. So you can just click on the table and go to the design option, and you can just check out how exactly the table looks like. And based on your preference, you can just choose the required color. So now I'm just using this. Now I can go ahead and go to the automate tab, and I'll check out the preview. So now, as you can see, as per our template that we try to replicate, New York, the city, has been first categorized. And under that, John Doe, the name of the donor, has been categorized. And further, we have the cash, whether it is a cash or kind. And not only that, in this, we have also added the mode of payment that is also categorized. So as you can see here, both food is coming under PayPal. So using this, you can easily categorize the data that you have. The raw data that you have uncategorized can be easily categorized, and in a visually stunning manner, you can provide that. So now that we have almost completed the group by feature, so if you have any questions, as I mentioned earlier, you can just put that in the chat box, and we can, before we move to the next section. So yes, and in the meantime, Preeta will be answering. I'll just get to the next section. So sorry for that. Yes, so data summarization. So in this section, we are going to use aggregate function, using which you can summarize your data to get more information that is not available in your data source. So as you can see in the first table actually groups larger data into smaller related sets. That is, it shows all the donations made by a donor by grouping it together based on a specific condition. So as this is actually the previous example that we are talking about. So in here, as you can see, it has got the donor's name and all the donations done by him. So, for example, there are four cash donations made by this particular donor, but each and every donation is listed out separately. And using the aggregate function, what we are going to do is that, as you can see in the right side of the screenshot, there is a total amount available for particular user. So John Doe, what is the total amount that you have donated? If you want to know that, you can use this aggregate function and easily pull out the data. And not only that, you can also get the number of time that you have made as cash donation. So you can see that the number of times he donated is 4. And that's the number of times that we have in the left screenshot as well. And similarly, you can also calculate the donated amount. The total amount can be calculated using aggregate function as well. So yeah, these are just additional information which we generate using the aggregate function. So let's just get into the demo session so that you'll get more clear idea about this function. So I'll just delete this table. And this is the aggregate document that we have. This is a document that we created. I'll just show you how this preview works and what are the ways which you can generate this preview. I'm sorry, generate this table. Okay. So now, as you can see, we have um, uh, created this table and we are going to check it out, how to exactly replicate this one. So now I'll just go back to my test document and I'll let you know how. For this, I would require 5 columns and 2 rows to be added into the document. And I'll also copy those headers so that I need not type it again. So now I'll just go ahead and insert the fields. Now I'll just start by inserting the basic fields, which is name, total amount, cash or kind, number of times donated. So for that, I'll just add cash or kind. So either you can calculate it using the cash or kind because the donation would be either a cash or a kind. So using that, I'm just going to calculate number of times that is being donated. And for the donated amount, I'll just use the amount field. So that using that, I'll be using aggregate, I'll be able to calculate those. So first, I'll just go ahead and insert a group by. So as you can see, since it's not under the repeat region, I'm not able to insert the group field. So I'll just click on this, right click and repeat this row. Now, since it's a repeated region, I can go ahead and insert a group by. So now I've inserted group name and for the total, I'll just click on aggregate. So now, in order to get the total amount, I would have to perform an sum operation. So these are the various operations that we support currently. So which is the count. Using which you can provide the number of the count of the times that a particular field has been repeated, and the count distinct, sum, average, minimum, maximum, and median. So these are the operations that we support. So in order to get a total amount, I would have to perform a sum operation, and it's going to be based on the name. So a particular user has donated how much. That's going to be my total amount. So I'll just click on group name, and yes, the field is going to be amount. So now I'll just enter any reference name. This is going to be just for my reference. So the field's name, I'll just add it as the total amount. And now I'll just click on create and insert. And for cash and kind, I'll just go ahead and click on group by. So For the number of times donated, I'll use the aggregate function. So now for this aggregate function, I would have to use the count operation because I would have to get the number of times a donation has been made. And in here, I have to use the grouped cash and kind, cash or kind. It's going to be based on the cash or kind. So now the field name, that's going to be number of times. So yes, now I've inserted that. And for the total amount, I'll just use the aggregate function. So now in this, in order to get the donated amount, I would have to perform a sum. So I'll just add sum and go to group toy, cash or kind, and enter the total amount. Okay, now I'll just go ahead and check out the preview. So I would have to now know whether it works properly as I expected. So yes, as you can see, John Doe, the total amount that he has donated is 449, and whether it is a cash or a kind, whether it is a material, and the number of times the donation has been made is 4 plus 1. It's a one-time kind donation, and the total amount is $449, and you're getting the kind as 0 because a kind is actually a material that they have given, so we have no value for that. So the amount that we have generated would be 0 for kind. So this is how you will be able to visualize data using the aggregate function. So let's just take another example of aggregate where here you can select, I'm sorry, before going to that, I'll have one more feature to explain to you. So which is going to be, so let's say this donation company wants to know which city has got more response. So from which city we got more amount. Let's say from New York, what is the total amount that we have got? So if they wanted to calculate those information, so what is the possibilities of them to achieve that? So I'll just delete this one and I'll go ahead and create a new table. For this, I'd be requiring 4 columns and 2 rows. So I'll just go to the insert option. And now, so since it's based on city, I'll enter city, and I'll also add mode of payment so that we can the NGO can get a clear idea whether it is a cash payment or a credit card or a PayPal, so that using that in the future, based on the city. So, for example, let's say New York users New York donors uses more cash payments. So in that case, they can go with the cash flow, and so they can make arrangements based on that. So if some city uses more credit card payments, so then they can just take out their swiping machines and get into the proper location. So in order to get that, we are just gonna visualize this data. So so now I'll just insert the repeat region for this row, and into that I'm just going to add the fields. So the first field would be city and the purpose of payment and the amount. So now I'll just go to city and select group by, so that I'll get the total based on the grouped city. So similarly, I'll insert a group by as a purpose as well, and for the mode of payment as well, so that it will be easily categorized based on it. And in amount, I'll select the aggregate field. So now for this, I would have to have a sum operation to be done. So in order to get the total amount, I would have to sum the entire grouped city. So in the group set, I'll have the list of grouped field that I've added. So I'll select grouped city and the amount. So in this field name, I'm entering it as total city amount. Now we have done the aggregate and the group by option. So I'll just go ahead and preview this. So now, as you can see, in New York, the total amount that the NGO received is $714. And what's the purpose? It's for food, education, medical. So these are the various criteria for which we have used the group by function. So in order to get the total using the city, we have the aggregate function. So yeah, that's how you can easily make these operations in Zoho Writer. So yeah, let's just get into the type or the example two of aggregate. So in this, using a month, let's just say in this month, there are new follows or new donors available, or the regular donors who are frequently coming up. So those information are also available in the sheet. So now we are going to get the number of donors who are joined newly and who's a regular one on a monthly basis. So if you want to generate a report, so as we got those answer in the beginning, so you guys do not use writer as a report generation. So for example, this is a clear example for that. So in order to get a report, whether the monthly report, you can easily use the data that you have, and using Zoho Writer's aggregate function, you'll be able to perform these. So I'll just go ahead and preview this document so that you'll get a clear idea about it. So now, as you can see, in this NGO, on the month of October, there were there were one new donor, and there were four regular donors who donated for their organization. And when it comes to January and March, so this is a monthly report basis. So if you want a yearly report, and if you have year added into your data source, then you can just use a group year and then generate this data. So let's just look how to get this outcome. So as usual, I'll just go ahead and delete this table. And so in order to get these information, I would just required three columns and two rows. So go to the insert tab, and under table, I would require three, two cross three. Yes. And now I'll just go ahead and add the fields into it, and I'll add the header before that. So I'll just copy that from here and go to automate tab, and under that I'll insert month field, regular or new. Yes, regular or new. And in order to get the count, I would require the count of the number of the donor's frequency, whether he or she is a regular donor or whether he or she is a new donor. So I'll just add regular or new. So now I'll insert the repeat region so that I can group these function and aggregate them. Repeat row and going to month and click on group by. So now I have grouped based on month, and under that I would want to know whether it is a regular or a new. So in order to separate this or categorize this in a monthly way, I would be further grouping it. So click on then group by and add a regular or new. So now, in order to get the number of regular or new users, or sorry, donors, I'll go to the aggregate function. So once we get into the aggregate function, you can select the operation that is required. So for this, in order to get the count, I would have to use the count operation and aggregate based on. So it's going to be based on whether they are a new donor or a regular donor. So I'll just select group regular or new, and I'll add my field name. So yes, now that we have inserted this field, and I'll just provide some design so that the table, so it looks good. Yeah. So now I'll just go to the automate tab and then I'll go for a preview. So now we have brought out the end document that we displayed earlier. So based on the month, whether it's a regular donor or a new donor, and those the number of regular donors and the number of new donors can be clearly brought to you. So as you can see, the count, the number of regular or the number of new donors is not available in the data source. That is something that we have created using the aggregate function. And not only that, so for example, if you would like to get the entire amount collected by the NGO, you can also get that. So what you can do is that, so all the aggregate fields and as I mentioned earlier, the grouped fields will be available in the left panel. So I can just go to the aggregate fields. So if the aggregate fields is based on a group set, then I can insert that only within a repeat region. So if I insert that within a repeat region by adding a group field as a reference, so I'll be getting the amount only for that particular group. So for example, if I'm grouping it by name, let's say John Doe, I'll get the amount only for John Doe. But if I would like to have the entire amount collected by the NGO, I can just insert the aggregate field outside the repeat region um, without providing a grouped by criteria. So now I can go to aggregate and I'm just going to have a sum, and it's going to be based on the whole data source. So this option it'll be applied to the all the records that is available in the data source. So if you're going by groups, then please know that you can insert that only into a repeat region. So if you're going for the whole data source, it can be inserted anywhere into the document. And now the total NGO amount is can be pulled out. So now when I go for a preview, I'll have $2,679 is going to be the entire amount collected by the NGO according to the data source that we have. So I hope you've got a clear idea about aggregate function. So next we are going to check out about transformation. So in this section, in this data transformation, we'll be focusing on how to transform data to perform required operations. So for example, if you wish to process each grouped data separately, then you would have to use data transformation. So to explain this in a scenario, let us consider that the same NGO at the end of the year sends an email to all their donors as a thank you note. And in this email, they'll be sending out the donations that they have made. Maybe that can be used for various purposes, maybe for a tax exemption or something like that. So, in order to perform that, what are the ways with which you can use this transform data source feature and get those information? So, I'll explain that in a live demo as we saw earlier. So, in this document, I've got a data source, and this data source contains all the users' data. So, for example, there are about 34 users' data available in this particular data sheet. But these information are specific to users. So, for example, if I'm entering the name field, as we did earlier in the introduction, so when I do this, and if I'm adding the amount, and when I go to preview merge, the individual user's record will be displayed. And if I add it as a repeat, so if I repeat this function, so let me just repeat this in a table. I'll add name, address, city, and the amount. So if I do this, and if I go for the preview, all the information related to these to all the users will be added. So in this case, you'll not be able to individually pull out data and then send it out to multiple users. So in order to get this, we can transform the data into subforms. So that the subforms is a category below the main fields. So using the main fields, you can transform data to subforms. So let me just show you how it works. And as you can see here, this is going to be the example that we are going to use for today. So here, the NGO is going to send out documents to their donors, which has the information about the amount that they have donated and the materials that they donated. So let me just quickly show you the preview. So in this, as you can see, the date, the mode of payment, and the entire amount is added, and the donations is also informed. So if there is no donations available, the rows can be emptied. So this is how we are going to create today. So let me just switch over to the document, and for this, I'd be requiring the content that is available in this email. Space this out and remove the tables so that I'll start that from scratch. Okay, and so now I'll just add these data into the table, and I'll let you know how exactly this works, whether if it is not a subform data. So the fields, automate tab. So this is going to be the donation date and the amount. Similarly, over here, I'll insert the table, donation date, the purpose, and description. So description contains the materials that they have donated. So I'll just also copy the headers. Yes. Now, if I go to the preview merge, as you can see, for each and individual user, I'm getting the data. And if I go to if I insert a repeat region for this particular document, and not only that, you can also check out that name has been pulled out. So I have added name as a field into this document. So the name is also available. So for this, for John Doe, I can send this out as a as a proper date. Now, if I go ahead and insert a repeat region, and now if I check out the preview, as you can see, John Doe is getting all the information done by others as well. The entire data source, the records from entire data source has been pulled into this particular table. So this is not what the NGO requires. So they would want to personalize and send data based on the name of the user. So for this, what we have to do is that we have to go to the transform data source option. So in here, there is also another option called filter records. So you can filter based on certain criteria. So for example, if you just want to send out users that has a name starting with J. So, for example, you just want John Doe, John Johnson, and John Smith to be sent out. In that case, you can add the value as J, and then you can filter the records so that only users whose name has got J will be sent out. So, let's say begins with. So if you add this criteria, so only for those users, they'll be getting an email. Whereas when it comes to a huge number of data, let's say thousands and to thousands of data, this filter will not work out because it will be a tedious process for you to send out emails in by filtering and using this filter option. So in order to overcome that, we have introduced this transform data source option. And please know that this particular option is only available for Zoho Sheet and CSV files. So if you're using a Zoho CRM, so there is a subform fields available already. So if you're using those data over here and if you're transforming it, it will try to override those data. So as of now, this feature is for Zoho Sheet and I'm sorry, CSV file. So in this, I'll just add the fields that I required that to be the main fields. So I'll add name, address, city, and as you can see, once I add the main fields, I'm automatically getting the list of the main fields into my um, under the list, and I have the number of records that they have, the subform records that they have. So now I'm just transforming all the main data into main data and subform data. So now once I click on transform, you can see that in the left panel, the data source fields is now less. Only the fields that I have chosen to be main fields is listed out. When it comes to subforms, they're not available here. So the data that I've converted as subforms is not available here because it is available under the subform section. So in here, you can you can check out the subform fields. So, in order to insert this, what you have to do is that you need not perform any action. You can just, let me just delete this table and over here as well. So now I can go to the repeat option and insert as a row repeat. So let me just check what are the fields that is required is the donation date. So in here I have the donation date, the mode of payment, and the amount. So now I'll just click on the repeat option. For the donations in kind, it's going to be the same, whereas there would be some differences. So now I'll just, for this, I would require the donation date, the purpose, and the material that they have added. So it's going to be description. So now that the job is done, we can just go ahead and check out the preview. So now you can see that what are the donations made by John Doe and what are the mode of payments that they have made and the entire amount is being listed. So in here, furthermore, you can more customize this information. So what you can do is that you can add an additional row, and I'll merge these cells. I'll add a total, and I'll insert a formula. When I go to the preview merge, I'll get the total amount that the donations are made by John Doe. And when you go for Olivia White, for all the users, you will have all the donations that they have made. And here, if some users is not, they have not made any donations in kind, then you can remove this table. So if you go to merge preferences, you can select blank rows, columns, and the table if the rows are empty, so that the rows will not be displayed as an empty in the final document. So yes, that's how that's about the data transformation feature. So this will actually help you to split the data that you have into main fields and the subform fields. Hope that was clear. And yes, the next section that we have is data formatting. Data formatting is basically a feature where you can convert numbers into a text format using a Zoho Writer. So usually, when an email or any payment-related information is shared with users or your donors, so that must be it's a must that that should be a text conversion. So that using this data formatting, you'll be able to easily convert them into into the text format instead of manually typing them. So as you can see here, these are the number formats that we have supported earlier. So we supported percentage, decimals, and along with the currency format. So now we also support number to text, number as ordinal text, and ordinal year as well. So let me just quickly jump into the section of the document. And using this same example, I'll let you know how this feature is more efficient. So as you can see here, when it comes to when I go ahead and merge this document, I would not be knowing the total amount that we are gonna get. So for each user, it might differ, and I cannot open the document for every users that I have and for every donors that I have and go ahead and enter the amount that they have amount in words. So instead, what I'll do is that I'll already have a function inserted over here, which will calculate the values that is above the particular formula field. So using the cell reference, I'll go ahead and convert this number into a text format. So how you can do is that you can just insert a formula, and over here you can select this plus icon and insert a table reference. So let me just check out the table number, which is table 7. So now I'll go to the, sorry. So now I'll just go to the formula field, and over here, I'll click on table cell reference, which is 7. And this row and column would be C3. So I'm entering that information over here. So now I can choose the format in which I want it to be displayed over the in the end document. So I'll select number to text and I'll insert the formula field. So now, since the amount is a 0 over here, I'm showing it as a 0. So when I go to the preview, since the values are going to change, I'll let you know how it exactly looks. So I'll just open up the preview. And as you can see, when it is $449, you can check it out, the numbers in words, the conversion has happened, and you'll be able to view that. So that's about the data formatting. And So here are some highlights of mail merge. So aggregation, grouping, or looping can be done without any code language. It is not required for you to learn coding in order to perform these complex automations. Um, the coding knowledge is not required. That's the main highlight of this mail merge in Zoho Writer. And simplified, unorganized data can be organized and also transformed, using which multiple configurations and operations can be performed. And yes, the next point is you can easily design your table layout, and then you can apply a repeat region for the chosen data so that the entire data available in your data source will be listed out. And you can also further group those data as well. And the final is converting numbers to words. And this is not only available in English. So if you're sending out documents to other regions, you can also convert them into multiple languages. So that is also supported in Zoho. So yes, next we have moved on to the pretty interesting section, which is what's cooking in Zoho. So yeah, here we are currently working on various features, and in those features, we have listed out certain features to be informed you as a part of this webinar. So we are pretty excited to announce that soon these features will be available for you. The first feature is assigning multiple rows as repeating headers. So when you're dealing with tables with large uh, rows and cells, this feature will be helpful. And dynamic folder creation using mail merge value and rule editor to merge multiple templates. I'll just explain these in the next few slides. So as I mentioned, so initially in our previous launch, we did a option where you can mark the first row as header, so that when you're scrolling down the table, you might miss out what exactly the heading was. So you can assign the first row as header so that it will be repeated in the every page of the document. Whereas now we have just pushed that further, where you can select 3 rows as header, so that whenever you go down the document, maybe in the 31st page, you'll also check out the 3 rows as headers. And the next feature is creating dynamic folders using merge field values. So right now, when it comes to saving the document into work drive, we have a certain way where you can choose any existing folder and then save those files into that particular folder. Whereas right now, we are going to launch a feature which will allow you to create a folder using the merge field that you have chosen, and for the each merged document. So if you're choosing a merge field based on that criteria, you can create a new document and add it in a new folder instead of adding all the documents into a particular folder. So that's the future lineup. And we also have a rule editor to merge multiple templates. So for more than a few months, we constantly received a feature request which involves merging documents with multiple templates. So you would have to merge data, but I would have to have two templates or more than two. So we are actually working on it, and this feature will allow you to set a criteria, and based on that, you can select a merge template and merge records and send it via email or store it in your work drive folders. So this will allow you to use multiple templates as merge templates for for a single data source. Yeah. So that's it. So as you can see, we really thank you all for joining this webinar today, and for your constant support. And yeah, we also, as I mentioned, and thanks everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks, Oscar. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.